Bipolar disorder is overdiagnosed. And this is a phenomenon that I first noticed 25 years ago when I began to do mostly outpatient work. I saw a trend where many patients that had previously consulted a mental health professional carried this diagnosis of bipolar disorder. And the diagnosis was incorrect. These individuals were not experiencing mania or even hypomania, and I had to do a lot of debriefing. I have probably, over the course of my career, debriefed literally thousands and thousands of times. I was wrong a couple of times where I did take someone off of their mood stabilizer because the history was equivocal, and lo and behold, they did begin to develop signs of mania, and I had to reverse course. But in the vast majority of these other cases, they did not suffer from bipolar disorder, and the medications that they were taking were unnecessary. This is important because the mood stabilizers, those are fairly heavy-duty medications with some potentially seriously toxic, permanent long-term side effects. It's not like taking Prozac or Zoloft or even Wellbutrin for depression, which may or may not be indicated depending on whether the depression is biological, endogenous, or whether it's situational. Those medications can still help with target symptoms, and they are relatively safe to take. But the mood stabilizers can be toxic, and you don't want to be taking lithium or Depakote or Risperdal if you don't need to be. And so I'd like to go over what those conditions are and what they're not. Bipolar disorder is not mood swings. It's not someone who has an unstable mood. Invariably, when people complain of mood swings, the vast majority of them are talking about irritability or anxiety, or to a lesser extent, despondency, depression, alternating with normal mood, euthymia, a good mood, the absence of those negative moods. So when people talk about having mood swings, that's usually what they're talking about. They're usually not talking about mania or hypomania. Another clue that it's not bipolar disorder when we talk about an unstable mood is the time course. An untreated manic episode or a major depressive episode, which alternates with mania in patients with bipolar disorder, will last 6 to 9 months untreated. And so when someone talks about mood that varies from day to day or even hour to hour, that's not bipolar disorder. And even allowing for the fact that there is a rapid cycling form of bipolar disorder, where a person could cycle in and out of major depression and mania in a matter of days, even ultra rapid cycling, which is very rare. I don't think I've ever diagnosed ultra rapid cycling. I have diagnosed rapid cycling bipolar disorder a few times. That's also very much overdiagnosed. And it's usually because we're diagnosing people that don't experience mania and don't have bipolar disorder, and we're calling their mood swings, which typically are hour to hour or day to day, we're calling that mania when it's not. We also have to take into consideration other diagnostic factors, including substance abuse and personality disorders, which are characterized by poor coping skills and maladaptive attitudes and chaotic interpersonal relationships and other dysfunction that's more psychological than biochemical. The treatment for individuals who are labile with their moods, who are unpredictable, is antidepressants. Increasing serotonin calms all of that agitation down. Whether it's anxiety, whether it's tearfulness, whether it's irritability, the best way to assuage agitation is to increase serotonin. Those agents are not mood stabilizers. I often will see somebody who needs exactly that kind of treatment, but instead of getting the antidepressant or anxiolytic that they need, they're on lithium or Depakote or an antipsychotic agent that, again, have many more side effects, some of which are quite toxic, and none of which are really addressing what they need. And as a matter of fact, if you label someone as bipolar, often there's a reluctance to treat with antidepressants because of the concern that we're going to induce mania. And so often these patients aren't getting the very medications that they need, and instead they're getting other medications that can be toxic. Because of the placebo effect, often patients will report that they were greatly helped by Lamictal or Tegretol or some of these other agents, but it doesn't prove that their diagnosis is a bipolar spectrum illness when the symptoms they're describing are nowhere near mania or hypomania.